Hello guys, thanks for joining me. We'll do another pick a topic here. Let's say, okay. Open emotional solar plexus. Okay. So, as I feel compelled to do, I want to remind you that the whole idea of my picking a topic is to kind of practice speaking before mind, get comfortable with speaking before mind, get comfortable with not having something prepared. And that means that this will probably not be a comprehensive coverage of the open emotional solar plexus. It will just be whatever comes to me as I'm speaking about it. So thank you for joining me here at Manifestor Uncensored. That's the whole idea of that, the name of the channel, Manifestor Uncensored, because I really kind of want to get practice speaking before mind and not censoring myself. My mind not censoring my authentic self. So the open emotional solar plexus. Open, undefined, two words that, are often used interchangeably, or sometimes open is kind of like completely open, and undefined kind of means like, has one or more hanging dormant gates. So, yeah. Having an undefined solar plexus or emotion center, if you don't know that, it can be really challenging. Now, I have to say, it was more of a challenge for me. I mean, you can have a challenge if it's defined also. Don't get me wrong. The challenges are just different, right? But I think it was more of a challenge for me when I was younger. And I had no idea that I was not emotionally defined, that wasn't naturally who I am. I thought I was an extremely emotional person. And anyone who's been around human design for even a short length of time will say, yeah, duh. Me too, right? We people with undefined solar plexus, emotion center, whatever you want to call it, have thought in the past that we are emotional people because we take in the energy, our openness takes in the energy of the undefined solar plexus and amplifies it. Okay, fine. Becoming aware of that kind of helps you realize, okay, not my emotions, let it go, that kind of thing. Or it's just a transit. Right now, I have a long-term transit with Neptune in the 36, and I have the 35. So, yeah, I mean, I believe it's like 2 years and several months that, maybe with some reprieves in between, but before Neptune is out of the 36, I think it's more than 2 years. I figured it out at one point. Now I just kind of let that go. But anyway, and yeah, I will say though, even before I discovered human design, with life experience and other modes of deconditioning that I experienced, I definitely became less emotional, I want to say kind of like naturally, right? I mean, there were other experiences that I had even before human design that led me to be less likely to amplify other people's emotions. So it's kind of interesting because by the time I learned about human design, I really wasn't surprised that I'm undefined emotionally. But if you told me that when I was younger, I would have thought you were crazy. How could I be undefined emotionally? I'm a very emotional person. Um, so, okay, amplifying the emotions, it can be uncomfortable. It can be expressed in many different ways, and uh, depending on the gates that you have or don't have in the emotion center. But the problem for me, anyway, with the undefined emotional center is, as it's said in human design, let's see, is the, wow, okay, because I'm trying to think of it mentally, it's not coming to me. Okay, so avoiding truth and confrontation. I think that's exactly how Ra puts it. Avoiding truth and confrontation. But see, I was trying to think of those words and they didn't come to me until I let it go. Right? Anyway, little side lesson there. But anyway, so yeah, avoiding truth and confrontation. Trying to be nice all the time. Worried about rocking the boat, worried about how other people are going to act or react. I would say that it might be that we're worried about how emotional people will act or react. But I think that that conditioning to be nice and be concerned about how anyone's going to act or react, I don't even think it's only for me anyway, in the presence of emotional people. I think that just becomes so conditioned in you over time. Now, I say you, I really should be talking about me, because honestly, no one can really tell you. They can tell you how you probably are and how you might be and whatever, but no one can tell you how you experience it. And your conditioning might make you say, "Oh, that's not me," or your experience, with your experiment might make you recognize something. But even as time goes on and your experience changes, your experience with these things will evolve also. And like right now, I'm at a point where I am much, much better at recognizing that person trying to be too nice, that person who's worried about, the emotional reaction from somebody else. Much more aware of it and much less likely to censor myself. I mean, that's a place where I censor myself, right? Hence, the whole manifest or uncensored thing, trying not to censor myself. Like, again, trying isn't even, I'm not supposed to be trying. I'm just supposed to be being, right? Just being that person. And, but I can catch myself censoring myself. I can catch myself, being nice out of like a fear of upsetting someone else. And, it's the point is not, you should be trying to upset people or whatever. It's really not that. It's kind of like, okay, if I, if I'm speaking through my conditioning and I'm being nice to her, it's not like I'm supposed to then become mean Dar. It's more like I'm just supposed to become honest Dar and just be honest about things. But so many times, those of us with undefined emotional centers just say what we think other people want to hear because we're just being overly nice. We have this fear of being honest, fear that they might be upset with us, fear that maybe they won't like us or won't accept us. I mean, I think most of it is a fear of how they'll react. But honestly, that conditioning becomes so deep and so much a part of us that who knows, what's going on in the mind, right? It just becomes so embedded in there. When you have a lifetime of that. And I'm getting much better at being honest. But if I'm being honest with you, the conditioning still creeps in. I mean, I expect that it always will, right? I mean, if you really listen to the people who have been in human design for, 20, 25, 30 years, whatever. I mean, they will say this now and then. You will hear, while they're talking about whatever topic, they will tell you that, the conditioning doesn't go away. You just sometimes become more aware of it. And then sometimes you might even choose to still be the nice person, but I feel like when you're consciously choosing that, like, oh, okay, I don't want to upset this person, but I'm making, a conscious decision to say it this way because, maybe this person is just, so completely, wrapped up in their own conditioning, no fault of their own, but, listen, you might be like, okay, this person's an asshole. That's all. And it's just easier to tell them what they want to hear and just move on, right? I mean, there's a little bit more power in that than just doing it automatically because of fear and what have you. So I think you can even like use that conditioning to your advantage okay, I'm a manifester. I want peace. So if telling somebody what they want to hear is going to bring me some peace, maybe I will do that sometimes. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you think I'm wrong right now. I don't know. But that's what I might do. I don't even know. I'm not even thinking, I can't even think of examples. This is just like coming to me right now that, maybe I'll do that sometimes consciously. But there is more power in that than just doing it naturally out of fear, like your conditioning is so deep that you just automatically are afraid of someone's reaction. So you do it, right? Well, I guess also being a manifester, there comes in that whole, like, maybe I don't want to inform you of what I'm going to do because you're going to try to stop me, or you're going to criticize it, or you're going to say, oh, that doesn't sound like something you should do, or are you sure you want to take that risk? Why do you need to do that? That's kind of stuff that we hear as manifestors, and people mean well too when they're doing it. It's not even like people are trying to like squelch what you're doing. They just maybe don't understand, or this or that or whatever, or they're thinking about how it will affect them or whatever. But so I'm sure for me there's more to it than just well, of course there is. Not like it's not, oh, I'm sure there is. No, there definitely is more to it than just the undefined emotions, the undefined solar plexus, because I'm my whole chart, just like you are your whole chart. So if you have an undefined emotional center, undefined solar plexus, you can probably relate to some of what I'm saying, but your experience is going to be flavored with the rest of your chart and who you are. And your other conditioning too, just like my other conditioning. So, so my talking about this might give you like, we might find some common ground, like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, been there, done that, do that, all that kind of stuff. But your experience is going to be unique to you, and mine will be unique to me. So, the key here with the undefined emotional solar plex is that it can be exhausting trying to, because you're trying. It's exhausting to tell people what they want to hear all the time. It's exhausting. And meanwhile, you don't even know if it's what they want to hear. They might be fine with the truth. It's your conditioning. So my conditioning that's making me be nice star because I don't want to rile up their emotions or something like that. They might be fine with the truth, the honesty. It's my conditioning. So, whether they're going to like what I say or not, it's on me to overcome my conditioning. It's on me to speak my truth. And that's my truth in the moment. Who knows how it might change, right? So it's really about bringing awareness to that conditioning that the solar plexus brings, right? And, it's almost like practicing being honest, right? So I think how I've experienced it so far, and again, still have a long way to go. I mean, don't we all? I mean, we're all at different places, but we're all still going. We're all still experiencing, learning, deconditioning, right? But so far, I think this has been my experience. It's a mental thing, and I catch myself, and then I be honest, but I'm honest, but there's been the mind's already stepped in, right? Because the mind wants to say one thing because of my conditioning. The mind wants to say, I wish I could think of an example, but like if someone asks me, maybe someone asks me to do them a favor and I don't want to. For me, don't have the will to do that. And what I mean by the will, it's the willpower, the energy. I don't have the energy to do that. If I do that thing, it's just going to add to my burnout that I've been experiencing already. Again, another video, I'll have to do that video. Nice star, afraid of their reaction, afraid of telling them the truth, afraid of a potential confrontation, might say, oh, yeah, I'll do that for you. Of course, my voice will sound like that or something similar. It will not sound like, yes, I will absolutely do that for you. What can I do? How can I do? If it sounds like that, then I have the will. I have the energy, the willpower, the energy from the will to do it. And the will has a limited energy and needs a lot of rest. So, a lot of times it's a no for me. But I spent most of my life saying yes to anyone who needed anything ever. And, again, not knowing why, not knowing it was my undefined emotional solar plexus, along with other conditioning, but, that like was like took over my mind and was like, oh, okay, you want to be nice. You don't want to upset them. You can't be honest. You can't tell them no, you don't want to do it. So now I'm so much better at saying no. I am, and even if it starts to come out like through my conditioning as like, yeah, I am more likely now to catch myself and correct that. And yet, if it's a small thing, I catch myself, and I know I'm doing it though. I will sometimes still go against my will, right? Only if it's a small thing. Well, no, that's not true. Yeah. Tribal obligations, I will say yes to. Yeah, this kind of like goes off in a whole nother topic. So, yeah. I still go against my will. Okay. And sometimes it is just to avoid the confrontation. So I still will not always be honest, but that happens way, way less than it used to. Way less than it used to. And, also part of the problem is if someone is asking me to do something either with them or for them or whatever, it might not matter if I have the willpower in the moment to say yes to that or not. And, at the time, I might not have it. So that's another whole topic there. So, we are so complex. And it's so easy to say, follow your strategy and authority. But that is often easier said than done, especially depending on your inner authority, right? Uh, yeah, it's, that's a whole nother thing. So I think I should stop here. All right. I know that that was not a comprehensive coverage of the undefined or open solar plexus slash emotion center. But yeah, I hope that if you sat through this whole thing, that you got some benefit out of that. Yeah, if you did, consider liking and subscribing. And until next time, bye for now.